Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. Well done, OP, especially since they're not elderly and perfectly capable. It's ridiculous of them to assume their neighbor's going to mow the lawn for them, and even worse that the guy's son promised them that. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. I'm not mowing my neighbor's lawn. I had a next-door neighbor who recently passed away. He was in his 80s, and I mowed his lawn for him every couple weeks whenever I do my own, since he told me he couldn't physically do it anymore. He offered to pay me, but I never took any payment from him. Anyways, when he passed, his son told me he was going to sell the house. He offered me some money to keep mowing until they get it sold. I said, sure. New neighbors moved in a couple of weeks ago, and now they haven't mowed once. Granted, we're getting close to mowing being done for the year, but we probably have at least 1 or 2 mows left. Yesterday, new neighbor left a note on my door while I was working, asking when their yard would be done. I went over to talk to them and explained that I mowed for my former neighbor because of his age, and for the son because he was paying me. If they wanted me to mow their lawn, they were going to have to pay. They're a married couple around my age, mid to late 20s, by the way. Apparently, the son, or realtor, told them that my mowing services come with the house, that I mowed for the last owner and his son, and I've agreed to mow for them as well. I literally laughed and told them, nope, I never offered that. I again said I'd do it if they paid me, but they didn't want to, so I left. The son's now reaching out to me since the new neighbors called to complain to him. He thought since I was helping his dad out of the kindness of my heart, I'd do the same for any neighbor. New neighbor specifically didn't buy a lawnmower because he told them this. I stood firm and said, nope. And our second story. Entitled woman thinks I work at Dollar General, gets shut down by store manager. For context, this story took place 3 days before Christmas 2020. I was shopping for some sweet, sugary treats. The cast for this story, me, OP, entitled woman Karen, and Carl, store manager. It was 3 minutes past opening. I was one of the first customers in the store, so I figured I'd be able to get in, get my purchases, and get out before any of the bobcut, I want to talk to your manager, I want him fired, self-entitled Karens walked in. Unfortunately, that was not meant to be. 3 minutes after I walked in, the bee walked in. Karen, grabbing me, excuse me, I need your help. You should be helping customers with their shopping this close to Christmas. Me, attempting to brush Karen's hand away. I do not work here, ma'am. I'm trying to get some shopping done. I, like you, am a customer. Important note, Dollar General employees wear a black polo shirt with the company logo on them, a yellow name tag with the company name on them, as well as their name on a white sticker that's affixed to the name tag, black or khaki dress slacks and tennis shoes. I was wearing a hoodie with my high school name on it, pajama bottoms, and tennis shoes, so nothing like an employee. Karen, now spinning me around, I said, I need your help. Stop touching product and do your job. Customers come first. Me, now pissed, I said I don't work here. I'm a customer just like you. I am not wearing their uniform. Karen, refusing to believe me, you're lying. You're covering your uniform so you can ignore the customers that pay your wage. I take off my hooded sweatshirt. Important note as to what I'm wearing underneath. A white Cleveland Cavaliers jersey from the Mark Price era. In fact, it was a Mark Price jersey, just bought in 2019. Me, showing off my Cavs jersey. Do I look like I'm wearing the uniform? I'm quite clearly wearing the jersey of my favorite Cavaliers player of all time. And even if I did work here, I would not assist you on my day off. And if I was on the clock, I would not help you after you treated me like garbage. Karen, obviously insulted, I'm going to get your manager and have him fire you for refusing to help a customer. She walked away, so I began to grab my purchases in earnest. 5 minutes later, she walked back and had Carl in tow. Important note, Carl's a friend of mine. We've known each other since I was 5 and he was 8. Karen to Carl, this employee refused to help me. He was rude about refusing to help me 3 days before Christmas. He would rather buy his diabetes-inducing treats than help a loyal customer. Carl to Karen, I've known OP for 31 years. He has never been rude to anyone. He worked in restaurants for close to 10 years. He was never rude to a customer. You, on the other hand, I have never seen before. OP is not an employee here. He, unlike you, is a regular customer, and now he, unlike you, is shopping here. You are to leave now. Karen, refusing to leave, turns to start shopping. I'll just leave him alone and buy what I came for. If you want to keep your job, you will let me buy what I need to buy. This store is the only store within 5 minutes of my house that has this product currently in stock. Carl, grabbing his cell phone, I said leave. Starts dialing police non-emergency number now. If I press send, you will be arrested on loitering, and I will have you trespassed. The Karen left. I finished shopping. I went home with a case of Dr. Pepper, 2 boxes of Twinkies, 3 personal-sized cups of Toll House ice cream, and 3 bags of Hershey's assorted miniatures. Karen ended up, because of her attitude, not getting whatever she was shopping for. Thank you, Carl. And our last story. Entitled mom demands I give her my driveway. This just happened. I was having a great morning with my wife and kids when my neighbor texted me. We've never spoken in the 6 to 7 years that we've lived here, and she's always given me and my family dirty looks. This never bothered me, but it always bothered my wife. We never knew why she did this, but today we found out. Side note, her husband seems like a decent guy who just acts like he's defeated by his wife. The few times that I've spoken to him, the conversation has always gotten cut short because his wife needed him for something. My house has a very long driveway. The driveway leads up a hill to my house at the top. The bottom quarter of the driveway is shared by my 2 neighbors. They have to drive up to it to get into their garages. My side yard overlooks one neighbor's backyard, while my backyard overlooks the other's backyard. My pool is in my backyard. Basically, she texted me that she wants me to give her my driveway so she can build an in-ground pool for her kids. Her kids are a nightmare, and she's never controlled them. She just lets them run around and do whatever they want to all day. I still don't fully understand why she needs the rights to my driveway to do that, but she didn't like being told no. If I'm being honest, I did get angry and a little immature during the conversation, but I felt it was warranted for the situation. She thought that threatening and making racist comments about my kids would be the best way to get me to do what she wants. My kids are half Korean, half European. Update. I went out with my family earlier today. When we got home, she had blocked off our driveway with traffic cones. I moved them over to block her garage and texted her to let her know. So she never responded to my last text, but she called me a few times today. I was at work, so I didn't answer. She left me such a lovely voicemail. LOL. She says that she's going to build her pool with or without my signature and that I should sign. In the end, she says to do the right thing and calls me a B. I don't want to escalate too much because my family has to live right near her. I also feel like I can't do nothing because it'll only get worse. I'll let you guys know once I decide how to handle this. I honestly didn't take my neighbor seriously, and that was a mistake. I stayed home from work on March 1st to make sure that my neighbor didn't try anything. The day was completely normal, so I went to work the next day. When I was pulling down my driveway, there were trucks from a pool company on the street in front of her house. I immediately regretted not taking this situation seriously, but I had to go to work, so I left and called my wife, asking her to keep an eye out. About 2 hours later, my wife called telling me that the trucks had pulled onto our driveway and a few guys had started removing the hedges that line my driveway. To give you guys an idea of what my driveway looks like, there are hedges that line the driveway all the way up to my house, which then branch out to the right and left, although they aren't the only thing that separates my property from my neighbors. In my previous post, I mentioned that my house is on a hill. My neighbors' houses are all lower than mine, so their backyards are lower than mine. If you were to stand on my driveway looking at my neighbor's backyard, you'd be looking at a 4 to 5 foot drop. The guys were removing the hedges for easier access to my neighbor's backyard. I immediately left work and headed home. When I got there, I explained to the contractors that I had not given permission to alter my property in any way. They told me to call their office, which I did, Unfortunately, my neighbor came outside while I was on the phone with them, screaming at the guys to continue what they were doing, telling them that she owned my driveway. She started screaming in my face, telling me that I was a scumbag, that her kids needed an in-ground pool. Why should my kids have a nice pool and not her kids? Nothing she said made any real sense. I didn't really know what to say, so I just kind of stared at her while she was screaming at me. I was still on hold with the pool company anyway. She then told me that my wife's sister had told her that it was okay for her to cut down my hedges, and that was all the permission she needed. My wife is one of 5 siblings, 3 girls and 2 boys. I'm really close with her brothers, but not with her sisters. They've always been weird to me. The oldest sister straight up called me a effing G-word one time a few years back. To be fair, we were in a pretty heated argument, and the younger sister was never openly hostile towards me, but has been mooching off me for the last 10 years and flips out on my wife if we ever say no to her. I really didn't know what to say to my neighbor at this point, so I just walked up to my house to speak to my wife. After my wife spoke to her sisters, we found out that my sister-in-law, younger, has been speaking to my neighbor for the last year. She claims that she mentioned to her how the city had used eminent domain to take some of my property a few years back, but nothing more than that. I guess my neighbor thought this meant that anyone could take my property. Still not following the logic here. So yeah, this situation is completely bonkers. I'm putting a fence around my property now, which I really don't want to do. The pool guys assured me they wouldn't be returning, but my neighbor is absolutely crazy, and I'm wondering what she has planned next. My wife and I were talking about moving across the country to get away from her sisters, but we didn't want to leave my mom and brother. My kids love them. I guess my neighbor made our minds up for us, so we'll be moving away ASAP. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.